As the Bitcoin Moon Boys eagerly await Bitcoin's next decisive move, all signs, all indications are pointing towards something explosive on the charts. Something so massive, well, you might want to be sitting down before you hear it. Roughly about 90 days ago, Bitcoin touched this current trading zone for the first time in years, and then broke to new all-time highs, and we've just been trading still within this very tight sideways range. But now, for the first time in quite literally months, we're starting to see these signs show us something that will probably, no, definitely get you excited. So if you understand that the longer this bust loads, the higher this bust will be. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to BINGX or BINGX below if you're my Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado, let's take a look at what exactly has been going on in these charts. As you can see, for the past 3 months, since we first came up to this region back at the very beginning of March, okay, this is insane that we've been in this zone for 3 months. Bitcoin has been, quite honestly, in a very good position for 3 months, but also nothing has really happened substantially in the past 3 months since we first entered this zone. Everybody's just been waiting on their tiptoes eagerly for what is most likely going to be the most explosive phase of this bull run, right? Everyone's aware of this. But finally now we're getting signs on the shorter term that the wait is nearly over. And before we look at even the short term, clearly long term, this is a pattern that I think most people are very aware of. But this goes back for multiple years. And just like in every bull run, I've talked about this before, in every bull run, there is like at least one massive like 3-4 year macro pattern. And so far, they've all been bullish patterns for Bitcoin because basically every 4 years, Bitcoin explodes to new all-time highs and has a massive bull run. And this time is no different at all. And this, in my opinion, is extremely clear. Very likely that I think that whether or not we're done consolidating as of this week, or maybe a few more weeks from now, whatever it may be, forming the handle of this pattern, absolutely I think we are about to initiate giga bust mode big time. This has been building and building and building for years. And if we combine all of the bullish things that have been happening in the crypto space, and we sprinkle the little cherry on top of, election year, all of the positive legal battles that the crypto space has been winning, combined with, literally everything has been going smoothly. This is shaping up to be incredibly exciting. And quite honestly, I'll be the first to admit, right? Nobody knows the exact day that Bitcoin is going to break $75,000, $80,000, $90,000 per Bitcoin, $100,000, a 6-digit Bitcoin for the first time in history. Nobody knows exactly what day that's going to happen. But the one thing that I am quite sure of is that it is going to come to a surprise. It's going to be a surprise to a lot of people. In fact, even the people that are kind of tuned in and watching the markets every day, like myself, like many of you, it's probably going to even come as a surprise to many of us. That's the thing with this market. Even as prepared as you think you might be, when Bitcoin actually initiates these kind of moves, these multi-month giga rallies to end all giga rallies, the most explosive portions of the Bitcoin bull markets that I'm highlighting on the screen right here, these type of explosions always catch people off guard, no matter how tuned into the market you are. And say, for example, we see something like this over just maybe next week this begins, okay? Because it's realistic, in my opinion. I absolutely believe now we have had enough consolidation. We have had enough momentum, cool down, enough structure built in that absolutely we could be seeing this very shortly. But I guess my point is that regardless of when it's going to be happening, I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to catch people off guard, and even myself, right? I wake up every day. I've been checking the charts a little less because it's boring, but one of these days, I'm going to pull up that phone. I'm going to look at it and say, whoa, why is Bitcoin up 10%? I'm not going to say why. I know why, but I'll say, whoa, it's up 10%. And then I'll put it down, maybe eat a chalupa, maybe some guac, something like that. And then I pull up my phone again. Oh my gosh, 15%? What the heck? 20%? Oh my goodness, you look at your altcoins. Oh my gosh, 20%, 30%. The moment is coming, and you need to be ready for it. And this is the clearest illustration of me of kind of just, what we should expect. Bitcoin has been very held down in terms of the last 3 months, in terms of really initiating that kind of complete liquidation of the shorts, straight up only. As I said just last week, we got our very first bullish cross for the very first time on the daily chart since back at the beginning of 2024, back at the very beginning of February, where then Bitcoin went from about 52,000 to those new all-time highs. We got that. We look at the daily chart for Bitcoin as well. The Bollinger Bands are quite literally as tight. They're as tight as they were since back in the very first week of January of this year. Extremely tight, meaning most likely big volatility is more and more likely. We look on the daily chart, we're seeing also the daily chart MACD as well. After a few days of dumpiness, really though a trend of like a couple week trend of this momentum kind of shifting a little bit. Again, shifting to maybe go into the green again here. Look how much this has cooled down since March. Okay, this was somewhat overbought, not for the entire cycle, but short term for Bitcoin, absolutely this was overbought. We have spent the last 3 months completely getting rid of that overbought momentum and have switched. And right now we're also holding right on this 21-day moving average as of right now, okay? After we spent 2 months or about an entire month below it, and then we broke above it as this inverse head and shoulder started playing out about a couple weeks ago, and now we've been consolidating sideways, looking to try to find support exactly where we're at on this 21-day moving average. And as well, on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, honestly, this MACD very easily can curve up and do something, right? Just absolutely start blowing to the upside. See this shift into that. Very similar to times in the past. Maybe even, much bigger than we've ever even seen before. The key takeaway here is that, every one of these days that goes by and Bitcoin has not started exploding up, the more explosive I believe that the move is going to be when it comes. And really, realistically, it has been a lot of sideways. This weekly chart, I think, illustrates very well how, even on this weekly chart, the RSI, we have seen a nice reduction in momentum. In bull markets, we can peek our head above into this early overbought range numerous times and go pretty extensively above it and also spend a lot of time above it. And right now, we're not even above it. We have, and this is the weekly chart, we have so much. But again, I personally, I don't think that, like, if this move would start happening over the next week and we see 75, 80,000, 90,000, 100,000, your window to participate in those gains, I think, is like so small if you wait until then. If you're going to wait until Bitcoin reaches $100,000 before like entering the market or something like that, I don't know. I just personally that would stress me out a lot because I would, absolutely have been, I would have lost maximum opportunity. But yeah, overall, on this chart, still, if we actually look, I want to look at the VRVP here. Again, we have like no significant historical volume above us. None. We have no significant volume above us. And we have just been building support here. Okay, for the past 3 months, right around, the center of this is right around 66, 67,000 US dollars. We've also been sitting right on 70 for a while. We were above 70,000 for moments earlier today. And realistically, we are just solidifying this range as ultimately really good support in the future. If and most likely when we end up pulling back to it on the way up, or maybe at a much later date bear market or something like that. Overall, this consolidation is very clearly, look at this. For 3 months, people have been waiting for this to break down and enter, enter a drop back to like 30K or something. And it simply has not even really been close to doing that. Very beginning of May, we were able to get down to like 56,500 and then immediately bounce back up to 65,000, like a $10,000 pump as soon as it went that low. And ultimately, like the $60,000 level has been the massive floor for the past 3 months. it's a waiting game at this point. And you have two options. You can bet on the next big move being to the downside or the next big move being to the upside. And to me, it is, I could literally get my brain removed and I would still understand that it is more likely we're about to do the second thing I said, a massive bull market to the upside, continuation for Bitcoin. It's not going to go up forever, okay? There will be a bear market, there will be massive dumps, and there will be years of massive dumping, just like we've always seen. Maybe it won't be as intense, just like maybe this bull market won't be as percentage-wise massive for Bitcoin specifically, but maybe sectors like AI and some of these other coins will gain massively, gaming, stuff like that, very possibly. But the point is, man, we're getting close. We're getting close. And mainly the point of this video, again, I'm just here to say, I personally think now we're finally at the point where this can start happening literally any day. I don't think we're weeks or months away now from the real breakout, from a massive bull market, for the most parabolic phase of this bull market. I personally think we're days away. I personally think that this could happen, pretty much now, any day. And get sent up to BINGX or BINGX below for my Bitcoin or altcoins. Without further ado.